In the year 1421 of the Ming dynasty, China dispatched a top admiral, Zhang He, to discover the rest of the world. Historians are divided on whether the admiral actually did reach new continents, but one thing is clear: he traveled with few weapons and many gifts. For Dutch entrepreneur Peter Pronk, Zhang He's journey is proof that China has long been a misunderstood land. Whereas many Westerners believe that doing business in China is fraught with risk, Peter knows that the secret to success here is to adapt to Chinese ways. It is for this reason that his company, which helps foreign firms navigate the Chinese market, is also called 1421.
Welcome to 1421. My name is Peter Pronk. I'm the founder and one of the partners of this company. Let me show you around who are there. This is our project team, our marketing department and our IT department.
The 53-year-old Peter lives and works in Beijing full-time. He has founded more than 10 companies in his life, but for now his future is tied to the rapidly expanding 1421. In just over 3 years, his client list has increased from 1 to more than 70 companies around the globe, and half his staff from 2 to more than 20 people.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Peter. Happy birthday to you.
Peter Pronk is a China business expert. He has nearly 2 decades of experience working for both European firms and Chinese state-owned enterprises. In that time, he has learned through trial and error what works in China and what doesn't. At 1421, he applies his knowledge to designing customized China strategies for his various clients.
We chose to make what we call a full concept, a one-stop shopping model, where we take the customer by the hand and lead them through the streets of Beijing. Nobody makes because everybody who comes here for the first time makes a lot of mistakes, and we help them not to make these mistakes.
With the continuous growth of the Chinese economy, more and more Western entrepreneurs are coming to China. However, according to Peter, more than 90% of them are doomed to fail.
Many Western companies fly to China and they plan 1 week business, and they want to meet 3 companies. And they fly in on Monday, then they arrive on Tuesday, and then they want to fly back on Friday because they want to be back in their home. That doesn't work in China. In China, you have to be here for 2 weeks. You cannot plan every meeting because things are changing. And that's why a lot of Western people get frustrated. Also, that they go home again, they send an email to their Chinese partner, and they're very surprised that the Chinese partner never answers. But they don't do that because Chinese people don't like to email or put things in writing.
Unfortunately, many of the entrepreneurs that fail in China do not realize how many differences in habits there are here. According to Peter, these differences can be learned and managed, but doing so takes time and planning.
Because for a simple reason, because the Western people come to this country unprepared. They don't have the time, they don't take the time to check it, to work on it, to study it, to understand it. They all got upset about the pollution and they all got upset about the wrong things. While in this country you need to study it, understand it, and don't try to change it.
His service is for a foreigner coming here, it's always complicated, the legal and structuring issues, and everything is new. It's not like in Europe.
跟中国的其他的公司做交往、商务交往的时候，他很注重于中国人的礼节。
And he has very much experience and knowledge in this, so he's a very trustworthy partner to work with.
In fact, it took Peter many years to learn how to communicate and do business in China. He was first sent here to negotiate wind technology deals for a Dutch company.
This is the reason, business-wise, why I came to China. This is a wind turbine, it's a Dutch technology, and I organized the marriage with the, if you see this here, the China Aerospace.
Because of the job, he had to fly from Europe to Beijing every week. Over time, he came to prefer his life in China, so when one day he became frustrated with his current work situation, he was faced with a major decision.
Because I got a fight with my, at that time, boss, so I hang up, I took my wife for dinner in Sanlitur, and we did our nails. And and I asked her, I said, do you want to go back to Europe? And she says, no. I said, I'm going to quit my job tonight. She says, okay, fine. I read the book 1421, the year that the Chinese discovered the world, many years before. And then I got to the idea, okay, how can I help to change the 90% failure rate of doing business in China into 10%. And then I started with the idea of 1421.
What I really like from Peter is that he listens very well, and he finds it very important to develop skills of the personnel.
You don't have pressure to work with him. I think this is I'm very lucky to be here to have a boss like him.
If you ask if I was a good boss, I'm the greatest boss. That's the Oscar.
Who gave you the gift?
Yeah, somebody of my staff, of course.
To his clients and colleagues, Peter's ability to make sense of the Chinese business world can seem magical. But if you ask him how he came to understand China so well, he will tell you that the most important thing is to simply listen and pay attention. Business in China has its own logic, and it takes time to understand how it works. Fortunately for his clients, Peter has spent his career observing Chinese business logic in action, and his stories on the subject are endless.
I was in a hotel somewhere in Dalian one day, and I negotiated for a couple of days with a company. They came home one night from dinner and a party, and they signed a contract with the Chinese partner. And they invited me in the bar to drink champagne with them. I said to them, well, maybe it's better to drink champagne after you leave and not when you're here. And they said, why? I said, well, maybe tomorrow you will get a surprise. No, but we signed a contract, so we have a deal. I said, well, okay. So we drink some champagne, we had a good time. And the next morning, the host came in, and one of the hosts whispered something in the Dutch guy's ear, and the Dutch guy really shocked, because at that moment in time, he says, yeah, we signed a contract yesterday night, but my boss wants to lower the price. So, and the Western people were totally shocked about that. But I warned them that that could happen. Guanxi, a lot of Western people think that it is networking. Guanxi is absolutely not networking. Guanxi is a very high level of maintaining your relationship with the party, person, or the company that you do business with. You grow in that. It's like having a marriage with somebody, and I'm married for 31 years, so I know about that. That you grow in that relationship with that friend or that partner or that business one. Western people really don't understand Guanxi. They talk about it, but they don't know how to deal with that. Leave your own thinking at home. That's what I ask people. That's the main rule. Make a good plan, take time, and leave your thing at home.
It was 19 years ago that Peter first came to China. In the time since then, he has witnessed remarkable transformations of both the Chinese economy and culture. In Beijing, the lifestyle available to foreigners has improved in many ways, and the habits of local Beijingers have changed as well.
China changed tremendously because 19 years ago, the first time, there was no highway to the from the airport. There was only Terminal 1. There were not many five-star hotels. Now you see so many Western restaurants. And 5 years ago, even when you go to a Western restaurant, it was 80% Western people and 20% Chinese. Now you see it's 80% Chinese and 20% Western people.
Peter's connection to China runs deeper than business. He's also the father of an adopted Chinese daughter. Although Peter and his wife had 3 sons, they'd always wanted a daughter. Their dream was realized 20 years ago when they received news that a Dutch-managed orphanage in Guizhou province had a baby girl who needed a home.
She looks like a Chinese girl, but she's fully Dutch. Her whole cultural being is Dutch.
Their daughter is a unique young woman. Although she was born in China and appears Chinese, she was raised by Dutch parents and has spent most of her life in Europe.
We flew together to China, and there was, although it was the Dutch airline, they had some Chinese people working, and the flight attendant immediately...
The Chinese flight attendant?
Yeah, the Chinese flight attendant ignored me and addressed her in Chinese, and she almost panicked. And she said, Mom, Mom, help!
For this Dutch family, the move from Europe to China was a huge change in culture and lifestyle.
we came from a village with only 450 people, and then near the Dutch ocean side. And then we moved to Beijing with 23 or 22 million people. So
It's a big move.
big change, big change.
In moving to China, Peter's family learned to adapt to many new habits and customs.
Peter's got he calls him his younger Chinese brother, Joe. And Joe said, well, you cannot stay all by yourself with Chinese New Year. You come to my house and share with my family. So I was very happy and I loved it. And it was my first all Chinese family New Year's celebration. So it was very special, you know, the whole family there. And we had lovely fireworks, and we went out for dinner, and the family at home, and after 12, making the dumplings, eating them. And straight after he, you know, ate his last dumpling, he said, well, let me take you home. And I said, no, Joe, take it easy, you know, like I cannot leave right now. And so I sat for half an hour, and he said, okay, shall I bring you home? I said, okay. And then I was at home, and in bed, you know, living whatever had happened. And then it dawned me, I thought, of course, he just wanted to bring me straight after, because that is a very Chinese way.
In the future, this couple is not sure where they will end up. For most of their lives, they have always been ready to move on to the next challenge, wherever that may be. However, now, for the moment, they're content in Beijing, the place that feels most like home.
No discount? He doesn't understand discount. I love this country. I fell in love with it the moment I arrived. I saw the potential. Every time when my wife and I fly back, or I fly back myself, I arrive, I feel arriving at home. So I really believed in my past life. I lived here before.
This is Peter Pronk, the Chinese business expert. He is a man who's grown to understand Chinese culture and even feel at home here. He's not the type of person to say where he will be in 5, 10 or 20 years. But one thing is certain, for those who plan to follow in his footsteps and seek their fortunes in China, they would do well to heed his advice. Take your time, don't be in a hurry, and take your time.